Welcome, everybody. Let's go. All right, we've got Mac in the chat. All right, you're the first one, Mac. You're the first one to write your name. Welcome. How are you? Mac. All right. All right. Abby, how are you? What's up, Abby? Welcome. All right. Let's go. All right, guys, let's go. Abby, would you like to have your name written here? All right. Here you go, Abby. Abby. All right, let's go. Hey, Quaid, how are you? Everybody drop your names in the chat. Everyone drop your names in the chat. Let's go. You're welcome. Azande. All right, Azande, here you go. Thank you so much for subscribing, Azande. Then we've got is Amelia in the chat who subscribed. Thank you so much, Amelia, for subscribing. Here you go, Amelia. Here you go. Thank you. Then we've got is Robin in the chat. Thank you so much, Robin, for subscribing. Here you go, Robin. My next subscriber is Ari and Noah. All right, here you go, Ari and Noah. Okay, then my next subscriber in the chat is Janu. Here you go, Janu. Thank you so much for subscribing. My next subscriber in the chat is Peyton. All right, Peyton, how are you? My next subscriber in the chat is... Let me check the chat. Lori. All right. How are you, Lori? Then my next subscriber in the chat is Teresa. Everybody give it up for Teresa. Thank you so much, Teresa, for subscribing. Here you go. Thank you, Teresa, for subscribing. Sorry, guys. I have some technical problems here. Internet is messing up. Then we got is Sheila in the chat. Thank you so much for subscribing, Sheila. Thank you. Then my next subscriber is Waylon. All right, Waylon. Thank you so much for subscribing, Waylon. All right. Then my next subscriber is Dehan. How are you, Dehan? All right. My next subscriber in the chat is Picolina. All right, Picolina. Thank you so much for subscribing, Picolina. Here you go. My next subscriber in the chat is Hey Xander. How are you? Drop your names in the chat. Everybody drop your name in the chat, guys. Let's go. Everyone drop your name in the chat. Let's go, guys. Then we've got is CJ in the chat. Thank you so much for subscribing, CJ. Then my next subscriber is Xander. Everybody give it up for Xander. All right. Thank you so much for liking and subscribing, Xander. My next subscriber in the chat is Javiera. All right, Javiera. Thank you, Javiera. Everybody give it up for Javiera. Then my next subscriber is Paxton. All right, Paxton, how are you? Thank you so much for subscribing, Paxton. My next subscriber is Tanishka. How are you? How are you, Tanishka? Here you go, Tanishka. Thank you so much for subscribing. My next subscriber in the chat is Divan. How are you, Divan? Thank you so much for subscribing. Everybody give it up for Divan. My next subscriber in the chat is Ivy. All right, Ivy. Thank you so much for subscribing. My next subscriber is, everybody drop your names in the chat, everyone. Let's go. Everybody drop your name in the chat. Kiki. All right. Thank you so much, Kiki, for subscribing. My next subscriber is Anna Cyrus. All right. Anna Cyrus, here you go. Thank you so much for subscribing. Aria Gal, thank you so much for subscribing. Then my next subscriber in the chat is Ray. Here you go, Ray. Thank you so much for subscribing. My next subscriber in the chat is okay, so you were the one who was doing Waylon and Paxton. Okay, thank you so much, Waylon Cash. All right, Waylon is your cousin. Okay, all right, thank you. Then we've got is Danica in the chat. Thank you so much for subscribing, Danica. Then we've got is Astray. Thank you so much for subscribing, Astray. Then we've got is Lebo in the chat. Thank you so much for subscribing. Then we've got is Speed in the chat. All right, Speed. Thank you, Janelle. Then we've got my next subscriber is Juwade. How are you, Juwade? Thank you so much for subscribing, Juwade. Here you go. Thank you so much for subscribing. Then we've got my next subscriber is Jamie in the chat. Thank you so much for subscribing, Jamie. Thank you. Then my next subscriber is Dio in the chat. Thank you, Dio. Then my next subscriber is Anna. Thank you so much, Anna, for subscribing. Then my next subscriber is Daniela in the chat. Thank you so much, Daniela, for subscribing. My next subscriber is Bob. Everybody give it up for Bob. Thank you so much, Bob, for liking and subscribing. Thank you so much. Everybody give it up for Bob. Shout out to Bob, guys. Lilo is next. Thank you so much for subscribing. Then we got Ben in the chat. Thank you so much, Ben, for subscribing. Here you go, Ben. Thank you. Then my next subscriber in the chat is Mishi. All right, Mishi, thank you so much for subscribing, Mishi. Then my next subscriber is Delton. Thank you so much, Delton, for subscribing. Then my next subscriber is, okay, Nikki, you gave me another name. Waylon, you gave me another name. All right, here you go, Nikki. All right, then we've got my next subscriber. In the chat is Cheyenne, thank you so much for subscribing, Cheyenne. Here you go. My next subscriber, Zed. Welcome back, Zed. How are you? Thank you so much for subscribing. Thank you. Then we've got is Dio in the chat. Thank you so much, Dio. Then we've got is Ken in the chat. Thank you for subscribing, Ken. Then my next subscriber in the chat is, let me check. My next subscriber is Musi. Thank you so much for subscribing. Everybody give it up for Musi. Then my next subscriber in the chat is Ken. Everyone give it up for Ken. Shout out to Ken. Thank you so much for subscribing and liking, Ken. Then we've got is Ag in the chat. Thank you so much. Thank you, Ag. Thank you so much for subscribing. Then my next subscriber in the chat is Alicia. All right, Alicia. Here you go. Thank you so much for subscribing, Alicia. Here you are. My next subscriber in the chat is Devon. Here you go, Devon. Thank you so much for subscribing. My next subscriber in the chat is, here you go, Musa. Here you go. Thank you so much for subscribing. Then my next subscriber in the chat is Mishika. Everybody give it up for Mishika. Thank you so much for liking and subscribing, Mishika. Here you are. Thank you. Then my next subscriber is Poggy. Here you go, Poggy. Thank you so much for subscribing. Then my next subscriber is Ben. Everybody Everybody give it up for Ben. Guys, drop your names in the chat. Drop your names in the chat. And right next to your name, write your country, which country you are watching from. Tell me. I want to know where you are all watching from. All right, then we got is Langor in the chat. Langor, here you go. Thank you so much for subscribing, Langor. Then my next subscriber in the chat is, all right, it is Dallas. Wait, Dallas. Oh, okay, you're watching from Dallas. All right, then my next subscriber in the chat is Lawless from Nash. Well, all right. Then my next subscriber in the chat is Clay. Everybody give it up for Clay. Thank you so much for subscribing, Clay. My next subscriber in the chat is, all right, Jamal. All right, Jamal. Thank you so much for subscribing. My next subscriber is Angelina. Angelina is from Japan. All right, Angelina. Thank you so much for subscribing. And my next subscriber is Misha, watching from UK. Give it up for Misha, guys. Give it up for Misha. All right, my next subscriber in the chat is, all right, wait. Then we got is Nova in the chat. Nova, my name is Meru. All right, then my next subscriber in the chat is Jafar. Here you go, Jafar. Thank you so much for subscribing, Jafar. My next subscriber is Manatsa from Zimbabwe. Everybody give it up for Manatsa. All right, here you go, Manatsa. My next subscriber in the chat is Blast. Here you go, Blast. Thank you so much. Welcome back, Blast, by the way. And then my next subscriber is Blast is from Philippines. Okay, guys, tell me, are you able to see my live clearly, or is it pixelated? Guys, I need confirmation. Please tell me. Then we got is Abdullah. Here you go. Thank you so much, Abdullah, for subscribing. My next subscriber is thank you, Kamal. Thank you, everybody. Give it up for Camille. Is that how do you pronounce your name? Kamal or Camille? And then we've got Jay from Ohio. Everybody give it up for Jay. Then we've got Jacob in the chat. Thank you so much for subscribing, Jacob. My next subscriber is Noah in the chat, guys. Thank you so much for subscribing, Noah. My next subscriber in the chat is Neve. So I'm sorry, did I pronounce it wrong or did I pronounce it right? Neve Daiso. Here you go. Thank you so much for subscribing. My next subscriber is Wyatt. Thank you so much, Wyatt, for subscribing to me. Then my next subscriber is Lois. Thank you so much for subscribing, Lois. My next subscriber in the chat is J-Lo. Thank you so much. Everybody give it up for J-Lo. Thank you so much for subscribing. Then we got Ava in the chat who subscribed. Thank you so much, Ava. Then my next subscriber is Roland in the chat. Thank you so much, Roland, for subscribing. Here you go. All right. There was someone from Japan. All right. Mitsuki, welcome in. Mitsuki, thank you so much for subscribing to me. Everybody give it up for Mitsuki. Mitsuki is from Japan. Mitsuki is from Japan. Let's go. Diane, you are next. Thank you so much for subscribing. Then we've got Dipti. Dipti is also from Japan, guys. Give it up for Dipti. All right. Did I pronounce your name right? All right, Dipti, thank you so much for subscribing. Then my next subscriber is Fuso. Here you go, Fuso. Thank you so much for subscribing. Then my next subscriber in the chat is everybody like this live. Give it a like, guys. Give it a like. Let's go. Double tap, guys. Then we got from Philippines, we've got Eagle in the chat. Am I pronouncing that right? Eagle. Here you go. Thank you so much for subscribing, Eagle. Then my next subscriber is Ismailin. Thank you so much for subscribing, Ismailin. Here you go. Ismaili. Here you go. Thank you so much for subscribing. Then we have thank you so much, and it is pronounced basically how you would. Okay, I got it. Thank you, Camille. All right, then we've got Neema in the chat. Thank you so much, Neema. Then we've got Devin in the chat. Thank you so much, Devin, for subscribing. Then we've got Max in the chat. Everybody give it up for Max. All right, Max, how are you doing? Then we've got All right. Then we've got is Arya in the chat. Thank you so much for subscribing, Arya. Everybody, give it up for Arya. Then we've got is Added in the chat. All right, added. All right, then we've got is Yoshi in the chat. Thank you so much for subscribing, Yoshi. Then we've got is James in the chat. All right, everybody give it up for James. Thank you so much for subscribing to. Then we got is Gabby in the chat. After Gabby, we've got is Hugo. Thank you, Gabby, Hugo, for subscribing to me. All right, then my next subscriber in the chat is Paniel. Thank you so much for subscribing, Paniel. Here you go. Thank you so much for subscribing. Then we've got is my next subscriber in the chat is Joey. All right, Joey. Everybody give it up for Joey. Then we've got is Bean in the chat. Bean. All right, everybody give it up for Bean. All right, thank you so much for subscribing, Bean. My next subscriber in the chat is Lucy. Everybody give it up for Lucy. Thank you so much for subscribing. Then we got is Miguel in the chat. Thank you so much, Miguel, for subscribing. Then my next subscriber is Wyatt. All right, everybody give it up for Wyatt. All right. My next subscriber is Mariam. Welcome in, Mariam. How are you? Where are you watching from, Mariam? Tell me in the chat. Then my next subscriber in the chat is Sava. Where are you from, Sava? Tell me. Then my next subscriber is Peyton. All right, everybody give it up for Peyton. Thank you so much for subscribing and liking, everybody. Shout out to Peyton. Then we've got is Betty in the chat. Welcome, and Betty. Thank you so much, Betty, for subscribing. Then my next subscriber is Allison. Thank you so much, Allison, for subscribing to me. Then my next subscriber in the chat is Lilo. Here you go, Lilo. Thank you so much for subscribing. My next subscriber is AJ. What up, AJ? Then my next subscriber in the chat is Gab. Then my next subscriber in the chat is Kimi. All right, welcome both of you, Kimi and Gab. Thank you so much for subscribing. My next subscriber is Archie, and he is from UK, guys. All right, my UK subscribers, thank you so much. My next subscriber is Evelyn in the chat. All right. My next subscriber is Arham. Thank you so much for subscribing, Arham. Alrighty. My next subscriber in the chat is Bobby from Kenya. Everybody give it up for Bobby. All right, Bobby, how are you? Then we've got is Joey in the chat. Thank you so much, Joey, for subscribing. Then we've got is Daryl in the chat. Thank you so much, Daryl, for subscribing. Everybody give it up for Daryl. Then we've got is my next subscriber. All right. Then we've got is my next subscriber in the chat is everybody. Hit that like button. Then my next subscriber in the chat is Rambo. Everybody give it up for Rambo. All right, my next subscriber in the chat is Aiden. Thank you so much, Aiden, for subscribing. All right, my next subscriber is Mfuso. Thank you so much for subscribing, Mfuso. Then my next subscriber is everybody. Drop your names in the chat and right next to your name, write your country name as well, so that I know where you are watching from. Angel, thank you so much for subscribing. Then my next subscriber in the chat is hey Janice, how are you? Then we've got is Journey. All right, here you go. Here you are. Then my next subscriber is Marshall from Somalia. All right, Marshall. Thank you so much for subscribing, Marshall. Then my next subscriber in the chat is... hold on, guys. Just give me a second. Then my next subscriber from the chat is... it is Cherry. All right, Cherry, here you go. Thank you so much for subscribing. My next subscriber is... all right, here you go. A+C, here you go. Then my next subscriber in the chat is everybody. Drop your names in the chat. Everyone. Then we got Patrick from Kenya. Patrick, all right. Thank you so much for subscribing, Patrick. My next subscriber is Yamil. Here you go, Yamil. Thank you so much for subscribing. My next subscriber in the chat is Tuan. Here you go, Tuan. Then my next subscriber in the chat is Shad. Thank you so much, Shad, for subscribing. My next subscriber is Shania. Shania, where are you watching from, Shania? Let me know. All right, Shania. Here you are. Thank you so much for subscribing, Shania. Then my next subscriber is Michael from UK. Here you go, Michael. Thank you so much for subscribing, Michael. All right. Then my next subscriber in the chat is Wyatt. Here you go, Wyatt. Thank you so much for subscribing. My next subscriber in the chat is... Where are you from? Where are you from? Okay, Wyatt. Okay, you're from California. All right. Then we've got is Ricky from Seattle. All right. Welcome in, Ricky. Thank you so much. Then we've got, after Ricky, we've got Nash from UK. All right, Nash. Thank you so much for subscribing, Nash. Here you go. Then my next subscriber in the chat is Nohia. Here you go, Nohia. Thank you so much for subscribing, Nohia. My next subscriber is Aura Pets Way. Aura Pets Way. Here you go. Thank you so much, Aura Pets Way. Then my next subscriber is Nohia from Ohio. All right. Then my next subscriber in the chat is, you're from Philippines. All right, cool. Then we got Ollie in the chat. Thank you so much for subscribing, Ollie. My next subscriber is, all right. My next subscriber in the chat is, guys. Okay, look, I gotta go, guys. Thank you all so much for watching, and thank you, everyone. Okay, I'll see you later. Bye.